What is up, YouTube? HPJ here, and I'm coming at you guys because I have, of course, a deck profile for you all with the new ban list in effect. It's time to update Floowandereeze, which took probably the least hit from the crazy shenanigans of this Forbidden Limited list, but still unfortunately has to contend with all of the drama that is still here because, well, Snake Eyes may only have one or two and maybe a couple of empty slots, but it's not hard to fill those empty slots. So it is probably still going to be the most contended deck in the format. If you are playing on a competitive level, if you're playing casual stuff, I mean, Floowandereeze probably still gives you a good chance. It's a very rogue deck. It has a lot of advantages to itself, and most people really can't, compete with this deck and how it ebbs and flows. So, it has its balances to it. But I'm going to be playing my variation of Floowandereeze, and I do have a couple of things I want to update it to before the end of the month, because for those who don't know, there is a regionals happening here in my hometown, and I am trying to get everything situated so I can go to this event and maybe even participate. If not, at least go and hang out with the Yu-Gi-Oh kids and friends, and just go from there. So, with that info, let's go ahead and go through this deck profile, shall we? So, starting off with the monster lineup, I am running 3 copies of Floowandereeze Rabina. That is followed by 3 copies of Eaglin and 2 copies of Impin. Then from there, I'm running 1 copy of Stree, 1 copy of Toucan, 1 Mist Valley Apex Avian, 1 Ryza, the Storm Monarch, and 1 DD Crow. For the last of the monsters, I am running 3 copies of Ash Blossom Enjoy Your Spring and 3 copies of everyone's favorite Dimension Shifter. Yeah, that's right. D-Shifter, who did not get hit by this Forbidden Limited list. Alright, so that is it for all of my monsters. We're now going to go ahead into the spells in trap. So starting off with the spell lineup, I'm running 3 copies of Floowandereeze's Magnificent Map. That is followed by 3 copies of the Advent of Adventure. I'm going to love this too because I'm playing 1 copy of Floowandereeze and the Unexplored Winds. Then 1 copy of Swallow's Calray, 1 copy of Terraforming. Then we're going to move into 3 copies of Pot of Duality. That's followed up by 2 copies of Pot of Extravagance and 1 copy of Pot of Prosperity. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for all of my spell cards. And then we're going to go ahead and go into the traps. So for the traps, I'm, of course, running 3 copies of Harpie's Featherstorm. That is followed up by 2 copies of Evenly Matched. And then 1 copy of Floowandereeze in the Dreaming Town. So that is pretty much it for, I was going to say the extra deck, for the main deck. Now we're going into the extra deck. And one thing that I do want to note about Floowandereeze's extra deck, you can throw any number of cards into this extra deck, and I'm going to be very honest with you, it really won't matter because Floowandereeze does not use their extra deck. And if you have to use your extra deck, I'm going to be very honest with you, that means something went wrong, or there is some issues in which you need to make sure your deck, because you're not supposed to use your extra deck. The extra deck is basically here so you can take advantage of Pot of Extravagance and Pot of Prosperity. But for mine, I'm playing 1 copy of Cyber/Harpie Lady, 1 copy of Harpie Conductor, 1 copy of Area the Water Charmer Gentle, 1 copy of Winnie the Water Charmer Verton, 1 copy of Access Code Talker, followed by 1 copy of Underworld Goddess, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. Sorry, get her name mixed up. 2 copies of Lyrilless Ragtail Starling. 2 copies of Lyrilless Assembling Nightingale. Hold on 1 second, because I did fan out everything. Sorry, I have so many different things right now. 1 copy of Slacker Magician. 1 copy of Downer Magician. 1 copy of Gustav of Super Dreadnought Railkin and Gustav Max. 1 copy of Number 0 F-Zero Utopic Future, and 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. And this is my German version of it, because I know where my English one is, I just don't feel like getting it. So, that is pretty much it for all the cards there in the extra deck. And that means, yes, that is a total of 40 cards in the main, 15 in the extra. And just to get it out of the way, my 15 cards in the extra deck are simply here because of the fact that you're using Pot of Prosperity. You can be any combination of cards in the extra deck that you would like to choose if you want to play Floowandereeze. But for the main purpose of it, I'm just simply putting these together so that I can use the extra deck cards that utilize cards in the extra deck, such as my pots. So, with that in total, we can now focus on the main deck. So, starting off, of course, is my Floowandereeze monsters. So, the triple copies of Rubina, this is here to search for all of your Floowandereeze monsters who are level 4, no, Wingy Beast monsters who are all level 4 and lower. In conjunction, we have Floowandereeze and Eaglin, who searches for all our level 7 and higher level 7 higher Wingy Beast monsters. These two in conjunction are basically what ties the deck together. Being able to get your bigger monsters to your hand, or getting your supply unit of little monsters to be used in conjunction to their effects in order to get the job done. One thing to know about all the Floowandereeze monsters is that once you've activated their effect and immediately resolve, you can get an additional normal summon of a monster. Downside, you can also summon after you use the effect, but because this deck itself is basically a Winged Beast variant of Monarch, there isn't no need for you to really worry about being able to get those particular cards or being locked out of the extra deck, because your deck itself will be more than capable with all its resources to focus on being to basically focus on being a wind attributed Winged Beast deck. Now, in terms of that, these monsters do have the ability to come back to your hand once a turn. If you simply use another effect, you can change to that ability to then be able to add them back from your banish to your hand, because when they leave the field, they will get banished instead. And that honestly synergizes with a lot of their other utility in the deck that allows you to recycle them, as well as being able to use them as material for summons and even card effects. Next up is the 2 copies of Floowandereeze Impin. So Impin is basically the Floowandereeze boss monster. I would highly say that it was also Snow, but no one's using Snow unless we literally have to use Snow in case someone gets hit. But Impin's ability is basically when you tribute it to summon it, you're able to search your deck for a Floowandereeze spell or trap and then add it to your hand. After that, you're able to, do an additional normal summon. In addition to that, when this card battles an opponent's monster, or I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. When a Floowandereeze monster, if this card battles an opponent's monster, quick effect. You can banish 1 card from your hand, and your opponent's monsters that are currently on the field half their attack until the end of the turn. It's just a way to just, run over things if they become an issue. The other thing about this monster is its ability, of course, to lock your opponent's monster's effects out if they are special summoned from your opponent in attack position. So that could also leads into some plays there, some strategies. But no, there's only a need to run it to Impin. I don't think a third is needed. And then just too many cloggy things, because that does have that issue as well, where you're going to clog up with your big Winged Beast. So round up the others, we have 1 copy of Shree. Shree is able to banish any card in either player's graveyard upon its normal summon. And that can be very helpful, because in the conjunction with DD Crow, who I'll talk about shortly, Shree is your other, way of banishing things from the grave. So you have at least 2 options of things to help out with that. Then you have Toucan, Toucan can get any banished Floowandereeze card and return it to the hand. Note that you have to have a Floowandereeze card banished to be, that's going to go back to the hand to resolve the effect. And Shree and Toucan, just like the other 3, do have the extra ability where they can do a normal summon, but you have to remember, you have to activate the corresponding effect in order for it to happen. Otherwise, it does not work. Trust me, I learned that the hard way. From there, we have 2 additional big birds. That's right. With a deck like this, of course, you're going to be running big birds. We have Mist Valley, Apex Avian, and we have Ryza the Manga Monarch. So, Ryza is basically here just to send cards back to the hand, send cards back to the deck, and gets an additional target when all of its tributes are wind. This is honestly a great influence of, the monarch portion of things, because monarchs have a great way of just bringing out their big monsters, and if you use the right monsters to bring out these monsters, then you're definitely going to have easy access to a lot of removal and a lot of standstill. While Miss Valley Apex Avian is your massive negation. Once per chain, you can turn any Miss Valley card from your field to the hand, to then get a negation of an effect and destroy it. Now, these two may seem like the odd man out, but actually, because of Eglin's effect, you can search out for both of these monsters and put them back into your hand and have to relegate to the combos and positions of play that they have. In addition to that, both Ryza and Apex Avian are amazing cards. If you do want to play some other things, Samorg has Dark Samorg, Samorg of Darkness, and some other things like that to also play around with in terms of wanting big winged beast monsters that you can contribute and utilize their abilities. For that, and in totals, we have one more winged beast monster, and that's the copy of DD Crow, which, like I said, with Stree, are here to help you banish things in your opponent's graveyard and get them out of the way. The funny thing about this is DD Crow is a quick effect that can be happening and just like that, banish something from your opponent's grave. So if your opponent's trying to target something in the graveyard, you can just drop this nice hot DD Crow and be able to banish it, and they can't be able to touch it unless they have an ability that, helps them return the card itself. So that is it for all of the winged beast monsters in the main deck. Now, to follow that up, of course, is two of our biggest assets. We have Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, and everyone's favorite, D Shifter. Dimensional Shifter is here basically because of the fact this monster did not get touched by the Forbidden Lenses. I keep saying Dimensional Shifter. His name is Dimension Shifter. Which basically is until the end of your opponent's next turn, Macros Cosmos. That's right, everything that either player would send to the grave will get banished instead. And that for Floowandereeze is not a bad thing, because you have stuff like Toucan that can get those monsters back. Most of your Floowandereeze cards themselves, especially the monsters, have the ability to return themselves to the hand. And this deals with a lot of the hand traps that your opponent would have. So stuff like Valor, what is that other? There's a couple of them, but it helps with that. And that's why I love playing it. Then Ash Blossom. This card definitely helps you deal with stuff. Especially because of the fact that there are a lot of cards in the game Ash can simply negate. And one thing is to note that Ash gets over D-Shifter. So even though she's going to go to the banish, D-Shifter will basically help you also, negate, and will help Ash negate the effect of the card that she's negating, whether it's sending a card from the deck to the grave, adding a card from your deck to your hand, or adding cards to your hand from the deck. Or sorry, special summoning cards from your deck to the field. So yeah, definitely bonus for that. And I ran 3 of each of those because why not? So now we go from our monsters, and now I'm going into our traps. Ourselves. We have our field spell for Floowandereeze and the Magnificent Map. This gives you your additional normal summons by revealing a Floowandereeze monster in your hand. That is level 1, banishing a Floowandereeze card from your deck, and then getting that additional normal summon, which does help out in some turns in case you have too many Floowandereeze monsters. You tend to run into doubles. You can banish something from the deck, then bring something out, and then that can also have that card trigger its ability, so then you can trigger the ability to return the other card. This is honestly just a great field spell. It really is, and it's one of the reasons why field spells now have terraforming at 1, because things got real broken with stuff like that, especially with, remember, Mystic Mine was the thing. The other thing to add to this is the fact that it can also be activated on your opponent's turn. Where if your opponent would normal summon a monster, after resolves, you get to normal summon a Floowandereeze monster from your hand, which allows you to then start playing with the effects of your Floowandereeze and start playing on your opponent's turn. In addition to that, we now have Floowandereeze and the advent of Adventure. By banishing a winged beast from your hand or field, you can then add a Floowandereeze monster. No, banishing a winged beast from your field or hand, you're then able to add a Floowandereeze monster or a Floowandereeze field spell to your hand from the deck, which is perfectly fine because you can either add cards to help you with support, or you can go add a copy of your map. In addition to that, you gain 500 light points, but you only activate one of the Advent of Adventure per turn. And that's perfectly fine because this card is here to not only help you go to your field spell as soon as possible, but it's also able to get some of your monsters and even get you out of time. Because I've heard some people who are playing Floowandereeze and love the fact that they got out of time thanks to the Advent of Adventure. Then from there, we have the Unexplored Winds. This is a great card in utility because you can tribute your opponent's cards to tribute summon your monsters. That's right. And if the requirement of that monster is 2, you can send the card your opponent controls, which is even better. Then on top of that, it has another ability where you can shuffle up to 2 Winged Beast type monsters from your hand into the deck. Send them to the bottom of the deck and then draw cards equal to the number of Winged Beasts that you return. So it's a great way to, get some sentimental draw power, but also be able to utilize your opponent's board as a way to tribute. Kind of similar to like Soul Exchange. And the spell card Soul Exchange, which I kind of want to get those too. Anyway, we're going to pick up from there because it's basically just your lineup of Floowandereeze spells. We have 1 copy of Swallow's Cow Ray. You can tribute one of your Winged Beasts that are on the field or in your hand to then go ahead and just search your deck for a Winged Beast of the same original level. This is basically just to help you flood out some floodgates or to get rid of some duplicates so you can get cards that you need. Only one though, because most of the Floowandereeze stuff in here already searches out for each other. So this is just another stand-in because we were kind of down on a couple of cards itself. The 1 copy of Terraforming to act as a 4th, a 4th magnificent map. Basically just to be able to search for it. That's all it really is. And then we have all our pot cards. So Pot of Duality, although you cannot special summon after you've activated and resolve this card's effect. It allows you to look at tap the cards in your deck to add 1 to your hand and send the rest back into the deck. And this does not hurt Floowandereeze because, like I said, this is a deck that focuses on nothing but normal summons. Same thing here with Pot of Extravagance. You can banish at the start of your main phase. You're able to banish up to 3 to 6 cards from your extra deck, and then if you do, you're able to draw that many number of cards times the number of batches that you send. So if you send about 6 cards, you're able to draw 2. But after you've activated and resolved this card's effect, you cannot draw a card by card effect. So do be careful of that. And do note that Pot of Duality gets over that because it's not drawing, it's excavating, which is a great workaround. But most of your deck is searching on its own or has ways to get around, the loops of the pot cards themselves. And then speaking of the pot cards, we have one more pot card, and that's Pot of Prosperity. Now that this card is at 1, utility for it seems to not be as vast, but still be useful. And people are just basically saying, well, if I wasn't already using my extra deck, I could just go to cards like Pot of Extravagance. It just basically just helps out with, 1 card fall down, the other card falls in to take its place. See Madolce. Alright, with that in told, that is pretty much the last of the spells, and now we go straight into the the trap cards. I said the monsters. So we have Harpie's Feather Storm. I love me some Harpie's Feather Storm. This card dodged the bullet, didn't it? Because a lot of people were screaming, oh, Featherstorm's going to get banned. Featherstorm is going to get banned. And then Featherstorm didn't get banned. And honestly, I think the reason why Featherstorm didn't get banned was simply because Floowandereeze was falling in and out of the meta. Which, yay. And to dodge some more bullets of things that were already going on, I think Harpie's Featherstorm basically is one of those things where, because it has already enough restrictions to it, they've hit enough cards to where, yeah, this is okay, it can stay, but we have a lot of other pieces to work on. For those who don't know what Featherstorm does, basically it's a massive negation of the activation of monster effects to the end of your opponent's turn. The thing is, you have to have a Winged Beast monster on the field in order to activate this card. As well, you also have to note that this card's ability to activate it from your hand can only work when you have a Harpie monster on the field. So, while this card seems to be more so focused on Harpie, this card can be used in a lot of Winged Beast decks that utilize wind attributed monsters. For instance, Floowandereeze. And I definitely wanted 3 of these because I love to have 3 of it as soon as possible. Next up is my evenly match. Just another way to deal with your opponent's massive boards and dealing with a lot of the shenanigans that they play. Especially when it's like you can go into the main phase 2, drop this evenly match, and then really mess with your opponent's board. Next up from there is Floowandereeze in the Dreaming Town. So basically what this card does immediately after his effects resolves, he's known summon a level 4 lower a level 4 winged beast monster. Then if you do, and you tribute summon a level 7 or higher monster while this card is in the grave, you can banish this card to then change all monsters your opponent controls to face down defense position. You only use this effect of it per turn, but basically you're just using this card here to help you extend your normal summons on your opponent's turn and really shake up things. Kind of similar to the field spell, the continuous spell, and everything else that says please mess with your opponent during their turn. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much to say. I really do enjoy playing Floowandereeze. I have some more ideas and stuff I want to focus on with Floowandereeze because they're still an amazing deck. And that pretty much just wraps up this video because like I said earlier when I talked about the extra deck can be whatever you want because you're using it to survive Pot of Extravagance and Pot of Prosperity. So with that said and done, thanks everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoy my update to my Floowandereeze deck. If you guys have any questions, you can leave those in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel as it helps out tremendously. Also, definitely do subscribe because it does help out the channel, and I know a lot of people who watch my videos don't subscribe, but it would very much help out the channel if you would. In addition to that, you can check out my social media links. They're in the description box below, and you can also follow up on other videos and content with the recents in the playlist. So thanks everyone for watching. I hope you all enjoy. I'll see you all next time. HPJ signing out. Take care.